Hello everybody. It appears that YouTube must have thought that I was a paid Russian shill, because what a coincidence, right around the same time that Russia decided to kick off World War III, YouTube decided to hit my channel with a 1-week suspension. Well, I can assure you, YouTube, I am not a Russian state-sponsored shill, and even if I was, I would have probably quit my job maybe around yesterday, because the Russian ruble is currently worth less than some of my most ridiculous shitcoin investments. I mean, look at this chart. I've only ever seen this happen to rug pulls on Biz, and of course more recently, Meta. Now, this world war that seems to be slowly brewing is very different than the other two that we had in the past, because there's another faction that is involved in this conflict, which is arguably more powerful and more influential than the governments of the nations that are involved in this conflict. Because you see, this faction is beyond borders, and the people that have been paying attention for the past couple of years, they know that this faction is able to pull the puppet strings of Western governments, and that other faction is, of course, Big Tech. You see, Big Tech didn't exist in the days of Archduke Franz Ferdinand's assassination, and they also didn't exist during the time that Tiny Mustache Man was elected leader of Germany for no particular reason at all. But in the year of our Lord, 2022, Big Tech has been issuing sanctions on Russia that are arguably worse for Russian citizens than the sanctions that are being imposed by Western governments. Apple, the world's first trillion-dollar company, has cut off Russians from using their products and services, including the Apple Store and Apple Pay. Google has done the same thing with their Play Store and Google Pay. They've also cut off YouTube ad revenue to Russian state media. And let me reiterate to any YouTube mods that might be watching these videos during my channel's probationary period, I am not a supporter of the Russian government or their state media. I'm just a big fan of some of Russia's exports, like Yandex, RU Tracker, and of course, all of the Russian people that seed torrents, regardless of what trackers they're using. But Big Tech's banning has gone a lot further than just Apple and Google pulling their services and their products. Microsoft also jumped on the bandwagon by removing apps for Russia's state-owned news. Dell has suspended all of their product sales in Russia, and just for good measure, they also suspended product sales in the Ukraine as well, because God forbid someone from Russia crosses the border to try and buy an overpriced Alienware laptop and risk getting shot by either side's soldiers. I just hope that this doesn't also apply to their business laptops as well, because honestly, Alienware is a hunk of junk as far as I'm concerned, but the Dell Latitude, that is one of the better business class laptops that you can get, in my opinion. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention that Samsung and LG might also start canceling shipments of their products to Russia as well. Although the halting of shipping Samsung and LG phones to Russia probably isn't going to end up hurting the citizens there too much, because China is right there next to Russia. And in case you didn't know, they manufacture a whole bunch of smartphones, and I am sure that China will be more than happy to supply them to some new Russian customers. Maybe you're really knowledgeable about computer parts, and so the idea of buying a pre-built Dell desktop utterly disgusts you. Well, good luck buying a new rig when Intel, AMD, and TSMC have all blocked chip sales to Russia. In fact, this block alone is going to go way deeper than Russian gamers not being able to build new desktops, because let me explain to you what TSMC does. They alone make most of the chips that are used in manufacturing throughout the world. You remember how pretty much every single kind of electronic device, even cars, because these days cars have about a dozen computers in them, were overpriced or they were unavailable for the past couple of years? That was mostly due to TSMC factories being shut down as a result of the pandemic. This is how supply chains end up collapsing. So anyone in Russia who has a job manufacturing electronics and all of the jobs that are downstream from that, like electronic sales and stores, and various other vendors with brick and mortar stores or online sales, those are all going to cease to be once those Russian companies run out of computer chips to continue manufacturing whatever it is they manufacture. And remember, these chips are in everything these days, okay? Good luck trying to find any kind of consumer product that doesn't have a computer chip in it these days. And if the products can't be sold, then the people who own the factories are no longer going to be paying their employees. They'll be out of work. So unless Russia somehow figures out a way to scale the manufacturing of their own CPUs to meet the demands of electronics manufacturing and all the other downstream jobs from that, and mind you, they're going to have to figure out how to do that without relying on imports of other raw materials due to sanctions. If they can't figure out how to do that, then a lot of people are going to be out of work. So hopefully there is an abundance of silicon in Mother Russia. Now, the sanctions have also stopped Russian Steam developers from getting paid. So how am I supposed to get my heckin' updates to Escape from Tarkov if the devs can't get paid? How am I supposed to buy better equipment in Escape from Tarkov when the currency is based on the Russian ruble, which is crashing harder than junkies on the last day of Burning Man? Do you realize that this single act by itself is going to start pushing Russian gamers back into playing Rust? The last thing that we need is a bunch of frickin' gopniks door camping our bases with double barrels all day long because they're not going to work or going to school since, you know, it's wartime right now. Everything else is closed. Now, maybe you're thinking, oh, Russian people, they don't need these services to survive. They can just go outside instead of playing games on Steam, or they can use cash instead of Apple Pay or PayPal or Google Pay for commerce. They can just wait till next year to buy a laptop or build a computer when Dell sanctions are over, when the CPU manufacturer sanctions are over. But oh, the power of big tech, it goes even deeper than what I've shown you so far. Big tech even went so far as to cut off content creators on OnlyFans from receiving their funds. Oh no! Not the heckin' sex workers! How are the poor little pay pigs supposed to get their rocks off with their society collapsing fetish if they can't give thousands of dollars to random models on OnlyFans who have zero relationship with their fathers? Okay, wait, hang on guys. I'm getting a live update here. Okay, false alarm. The content creators are back to receiving their paychecks from OnlyFans and their pay pigs. You know, this really gets you thinking about what big tech's vision for society really is. Things like payment platforms and app stores and CPUs and raw materials, those are going to be sanctioned for the foreseeable future. None of those companies are going to back down on their decisions anytime soon. But the largest distributor of overpriced amateur pornography on the planet, well, they changed their minds in less than a day. I guess it's really important for big tech to keep the Ruskies cumin. My sources are also telling me, let's see, am I reading this right? Adidas is also banning sales in Russia? Holy crap! This happening just got updated to a code orange. I mean, seriously, what the hell are gopniks supposed to wear when they're squatting on the bus eating smenchki? There's only so many sets of Abibus and Adidas tracksuits to go around. I mean, I think at this point, somebody is going to have to airdrop sewing kits into Russia as a humanitarian effort so that way the babushkas can create homemade clothes for the Russian people.
Еще же надо жить, бульбу ж надо посеять. Еще же после войны, ой, блядь, пошла замуж и родила.
Не ругайся.
7 штук.
Давайте.
О,
7 штук.
7 штук. И 3, считай, 10.
And if you thought that all of these sanctions coming from big tech wasn't enough, the bioluminescent government agency formerly known as Anonymous has also been hacking every bit of Russian government infrastructure and any Russian corporations they can get their glowing paws on. And these are just some of the examples of Russian citizens having their lives made harder by all of these convenient services that big tech was offering, all of a sudden being stripped away from them. If I were to go over every single sanction that's brought on by a Western corporation, then this video would probably end up being hours long. But in all seriousness, my heart does go out to the Ukrainian people that are suffering from this Russian invasion right now. as well as the Russian civilians that have absolutely nothing to do with Putin's actions or their military's actions, and yet they are suffering from sanctions and the entire corporate world colluding with them to make your lives harder. Now, I'm not going to sit in a comfy chair like so many of the other idiots I see on Twitter and Reddit and tell you guys to, oh, just overthrow your government, bro, and then the sanctions are going to go away. No, I'm not going to do that. But what I will do instead is I will continue to seed my torrents. In fact, I'm going to start seeding even more torrents that normally I wouldn't even download, or for media that I don't even really want to consume myself. Because over the years, every time I've opened up qBittorrent, I've always noticed a whole lot of Russian flags with good connections seeding torrents for me. So I think that this is the least that I can do, considering that so much media and pretty much most of the corporatized internet is getting cut off from the Russian people. And to the people who just a few weeks ago were anti-war pacifist liberals and then all of a sudden flipped the script and became flag-humping neocons that want America to intervene in this situation, let me explain something to you. If the giant throbbing cock that is America's military gets flopped out of its Marvel print Great Value brand quadruple XL sweatpants and gets thrusted into European affairs once again, you can expect all of Eurasia to become pregnant with World War III babies, because this time everybody has nukes. And since it's 2022, you aren't just going to get grainy black and white photos of the horrors that take place in the trenches the last 2 times. No. You're going to get 4K, Ultra HD, 60 FPS videos of the atrocities via Snapchat with some cute filters applied. Brothers should not kill brothers over pieces of the ground.